our new Executive Series 3 has an isobaric chamber, has the double loop back hose bracket. I'll explain that. Comes with all the parts and pieces and the safety catch. Show you how to put that on. And I'm going to open up. Now we have to have the cartridges come over so we can unplug the printer. Cartridges come over. Now I'm going to go over and unplug the printer. Okay. Use the ink shut off, which is on the hose. It squeezes the hose so no ink can leak through the lines. I mark the orange clips by color, so if I ever need to put them back on, I know what color goes on where, and it won't cross-contaminate anything. So I get it all lined up like this, and then we're going to take off the orange clips. They just pop right off. And if there's any excess of ink, just blot it up. Just take them off. Then I'm going to be able to lift it up all together and put it into the print head. If you don't want to get ink on your hands, you could wear a pair of rubber gloves. Okay, now I've got them back up in there. I'm going to click them in. Okay, now, the continuous ink system is going to go on the other side. So I'm going to move this over to the other side. Now you can see I already put a hose bracket here. That's the outside hose bracket. You'll get that in the kit. It's a little interlock switch in here. So if this part of the lid doesn't go in there, it won't function. So this is our hose bracket. It already has that little part that'll trigger the switch. Now I'm going to move the print head assembly with the cartridges all the way over. And then I'll put it through the hose bracket. Slides right through. Just like that. Then when you close the lid, this part of the lid is going to go into that bracket. So the bracket's going to become very stable. Okay, now I put the hose through the bracket that I put on the outside. I've got a nice straight line on the hose. Now you see the way the hose wraps in a loop, and also there's a loop at the bottom. That's very important because instead of using backflow dampers, we use this design because there's less problems with the print head pulling ink, because backflow dampers on these particular models cause too much resistance and it doesn't always work well. So we developed this here. It's almost like an anti-siphon. The ink will flow, go in, but yet it's less chance for it to siphon all the way back. Plus, we have the isobaric chamber. That's going to help it too. Just want to point that out. This is very simple, but very functional. And then we eliminated those dampers because dampers will cause problems on the XP series. That's why we hadn't released a continuous ink system for a long time for this model. Okay, then we'll take and open up. I opened up the ink shut off. Anytime you're going to take the cartridges out, you want to roll and close off that hose so ink can't leak while you're taking out the cartridges to put the orange clips on. Okay, now make sure you open up all the small plugs. I didn't point this out, but let me put these back in. You've got to rock the bottles. You've got to get all the ink out of the isobaric chamber before you take out the plugs. So let me put the plugs back in. I forgot to do that. I wanted to. There you go. And now I can just rock it. A couple times. That's it. Okay. Now, I'm going to put on the safety catch too. So let me get the safety catch. There's the safety catch. Now let me point this out. See, that side is closed in. So that's the side that's going to go on first. And then this will be able to slide onto the other one. So when I put them together, that one side is going to be facing up. I'm going to do it just like that. I got the safety catch on. I'll turn it around so you can see it. Got that on. So this will slide. And I'm going to peel this and stick this one complete like this right against the printer. That's going to hold it so nobody can knock it over. You know, I peeled the tape. So I'm going to line up where I want to put it, and I'm going to press it. About 24 hours that'll set up. That'll be really nice and tight against the side. Now I'll open it up and open up the plugs. These are the air vent plugs that I'm opening up now. They're all open. I just leave them like that. Close it. That's going to protect it against dust and light, and also protects the ink against direct light. You don't want to have it right in the light. That's why these other bottles that are clear and you put them out, when the light hits that ink will start to change. The properties of the ink will definitely start to change over time. Okay, now I'm going to plug it back in and turn it on, and we'll watch hose travel. Okay, now we've got it all together here. I'm going to go plug the printer in, and I'm going to show you the first warning you're going to get. Remember, we put the cartridges in when the printer was unplugged, so we're definitely going to get a warning. And I plugged it in. Coming on, and you'll see a warning. Cannot recognize the following cartridges. I spoke too soon. Okay, so now the first thing we got to do is bring the cartridges over. So I take out the interlock and hose bracket jumper. The cartridges are going to come over. I'll let that sit like that. And then I'm going to pop them up. Pop that one up. Pop them all up. Snap them back down. Okay. Now, every time it says cartridge cannot be recognized, this is what you have to do. You have to lift up that one that won't be recognized, and that'll reset your ink level. Now, if it said cannot recognize when you're printing along, how you can reset the ink level, you let it come over. Pick a color, I'll say this one, pick it up, put it back down, put the bracket back in, and then that color will be reset back up. Now until it tells you the cartridge cannot be recognized, you can't just do it anytime you want to. It won't work. I'm only doing this for the video to show you. See the yellow? Okay, now watch what's going to happen. I'm going to go to replace cartridges. Take this out. The hose bracket out. That's also the interlock. It's going to come over. Now I'm going to unsnap the yellow. I'm going to pick it up. Put it back down. Now because the printer didn't say could not recognize, it's not going to reset that yellow. Put it back in. Proceed. Ink level. You can see The yellow ink level is exactly the same. You can only reset the ink level when a printer shows cannot recognize that cartridge. Close the lid. That's it. That's how simple it was to install our Executive Series 3 continuous ink system. Now this particular video can be used to install the XP 800, 600, and 850. They all install exactly the same way. Okay, in this video I'm going to show you how to reset the ink level. Now this is for the XP 600, 800, and 850 series. It's going to come up and say, cannot recognize the following cartridge. Proceed. To lift the lid up. Tells you to put your hands on the side. Now you're going to take out the little hose bracket. Going to move over. Reach in. Unseat the cartridge. Seat it back down. Put the bracket back in. Hit proceed again, touch proceed again, and it says you have not installed Genuine. Proceed. Keep touching the arrows, say yes, and that's how you reset. You're going to have to do this for every color, sometimes two colors. But it's a lot easier using a CIS than taking the cartridge out and refilling it every time. Just wanted you to see this before you purchase the continuous ink system, so you know what you have to do. Some people find that annoying, but there's no workaround for it at this time. Okay, now I just did the black, and light cyan and light magenta pops up. I have to go through it one more time. Unfortunately, this is what you have to do, so I want you to understand before you purchase the continuous ink system. They're all going to work exactly like this no matter what. It's the firmware, it's the way the printer shuts down the cartridge. Okay, now there again I'm going to take centerpiece out. The hose bracket, take the center hose bracket out. Going to go over to the cartridge change position. Okay. Now we're going to do the light cyan and magenta. Light cyan, magenta. Put that center hose bracket back in. Close the lid. Now we're going to go to proceed. Have not installed Genuine. Again. And that's what you're going to have to do. It takes but a second to do it, but some people find it annoying. So don't buy the continuous ink system if you're not willing to put up with a little bit of this annoyance. Now here's something else I want to point out. A lot of companies, and we did too, we put the hose like this and ran it along here. The problem with that is the hose rubs, and when it rubs, it can cause a little hole to come up in the hose here. So we stopped. Our earlier video, we showed doing it this way. A lot of companies do. We stopped doing it that way because we found out that it got rubbed too much. And that's why we use this type of hose bracket now. We found there's no rubbing. It rolls along and it rolls back, doesn't rub. If you go along the side here, when you close the lid, it rubs. So I just wanted to point that out in this video. When you purchase our system, we do it a lot different. Even different from when we first release a system. After many tests, we find out that it does rub. Also, I want to point out, we no longer use, on the XP models, backflow dampers. We just don't use them anymore because of the problem with the print head. Backflow dampers can cause too much resistance, and the ink won't flow into the print head, and it's constant cleaning. So we've eliminated that. That's why we use the new double loop hose bracket. We have a double loop in here, and that solves that problem, and you get better ink flow to the print head. That's only on the XP models and some of their workforce models. But in this video, I'm pointing all this out so before you purchase our continuous ink system, you know what you're going to have to do, like to reset the ink level back up, how to set it up, the reason for the double loop hose bracket, the reason for the center hose bracket, and that's why we held back from releasing this system until we thoroughly tested it.